welcome back. We've moved seasons slightly since the last time and we're well into June and these lovely summer blooms. As you can see, I'm pretty surrounded by some lovely things that the flower market had to offer me. But what I would like to show you is some ways of enhancing them and making them so much better and so much fuller and long lasting. So let's have a go. So I have myself a lovely tank style vase. Now this is a tricky style because it's got such a wide opening. So if I was just to buy a bunch of flowers and it's got a small opening, it's much easier to plonk them in and off we go. But this makes it a little bit trickier. So I'm going to show you a little trick. I have my sellotape here, and I'm going to make, for better, a sort of crisscross of sellotape across the top, a bit like noughts and crosses. That's what I'm trying to think of. Noughts and crosses over the top. And that is going to be an invisible structure for what to work with. So there you go. I'm going to put my plant food in, which is often on the flowers at any supermarket now. And that's just going to keep that water as fresh as possible. Now, I have treated you to what has to be the most gorgeous English summer flower, the lovely peony. And these are stunning and just fragrant and lovely. They're not the cheapest thing to buy, but they are only of the season. So if you were a June bride or just a flower lover in general, it is lovely to treat yourself to a bunch of peonies because you're not going to get them at the end of August and you're not going to get them in the beginning of May. So treat yourself. Now, as far as buying flowers go, I wouldn't buy them this open. I would really be aiming to have them much closer and tighter. Not too tight. If you think they're really like little bullets, there's a good chance that it might not open. So somewhere in between that for these. But for the purpose of this, it's lovely to see them in full bloom. Right, I'm going to start with my peonies. Peonies are quite lucky. They've got quite a nice foliage with them. So it's already giving you the volume. But you must take off what's going in the water. So here we go. If it's marked, take it off because it just ruins the whole look. Now, as always, I've got to do this backwards. I'm taking off those bits and now I'm aiming a bit of a brown leaf there. Just gently pluck that off. Or petal, I should say, because that'll spoil our whole arrangement. Now, I'm heading into the centre of that vase. I'm sort of going through and making a crisscross network inside, and it becomes a structure for me to put the rest of the flowers through. Now, I've started with that. So I've started with a crown, a halo around the edge. Now I'll put those to one side for a minute and find myself something else. Now I'm going to give it a bit of extra foliage because I've got a big hole there now. And if I put some foliage through it, I will fill that hole and it will give me that second structure with which to put my next lot of flowers through. This is Pittosporum. It's a big leafed one, but if you could grow some Pittosporum in the garden, it's always the florist's friend. It's an evergreen and it's around all year round. Now, as you can see, I'm very lucky there because that foliage is clean. It's not nibbled by the you know, the bugs. It's not dirty from the road or anything like that. So it's lovely and fresh. Right, what else have I got in my little bucket down here? The next fabulous English summer flower at the stock. This is the flower that is going to be walking me down the aisle on my day I'm leaving this mortal world, because it is just my favourite smell. It's just fine. Now, the thing about stocks is they don't last very long. So be careful when you're buying them. Have a good look. Make sure that the leaves are nice and fresh, not yellowing. Make sure that they don't feel like they're crinkling up slightly. But again, it's another treat thing, because they're not around for forever. And if you were having a special party or a guest to stay, or you just wanted to impress or just enjoy them for yourself, it's a nice treat. And nothing says summer more than a stock. Now I'm making this a bit of an all white theme. People love white flowers. I mean, I think it's very cool and sophisticated. Goes with every colour scheme. It's a good flower scheme to buy. You know, you've given a gift and you don't know what their house is like. It's quite a nice colour scheme. So I've sort of gone in between my peonies and round in that circle once again. And now I'm going to fill in the centre bit. How's it looking from your side? I hope okay. Once again, it'd be nice to have smell-o-vision, because this is just lovely. Now I'm using that sellotape to just support, as well as the foliage, just to support the blooms in the right place. All those leaves off and keep going. See, that's sellotape. It's amazing, really. It just stays in place. So I've used the whole bunch of peonies. Oh, it's hard to see from here, but maybe that'll work. And then I'm going to return with the rest of my stocks. These are available in both. I've seen these in supermarkets. Not white ones, but they'll have pink peonies in supermarkets, and stocks, usually the purple and the lilac stocks. Oh, that smells great. So we've just formed a very lush, fresh. Oh, I'm obviously pushing in a bit of the sellotape there. Yeah, you might have to play around with it a little bit. Always taking the broken leaves off. It's an absolute necessity. I'm a hawk eye. The girls who work for me, I can see a broken leaf from about 50 paces, and I go, oh, leaf broken. I can't bear it. They can't send anything out with a broken leaf on. Now I'm thinking that does look quite nice. I think it looks probably better from that angle. What I could do is, this is another florist friend, the Alchemilla mollis. It grows like a weed in a lot of people's gardens, coming up through the pathways and sprouting everywhere. Unfortunately, it doesn't do that in my garden, which is ironic, seeing as I could use it all the time. But that green with that white brings it even more alive. So let's just put a little bit of that in, just as a finish. Just thread it through in between the blooms, making sure that each stem goes right down into the water. And this is where it is more important to make sure those leaves are off, because you don't want dirty looking water. That's not a great look. And that, I think, just makes that sing. Well, I hope you agree. There you go. It's your daughter's wedding day, and you've got yourself a lovely arrangement on the side there. I think that'll do. Glorious. 2 varieties of flowers and foliage. Have a go.